Before embarking on the analysis, it's a good idea to get a sense of what the goal is. The goal is to create 4 tables, 2 frequency tables, and 2 tabulation tables, abbreviated as crosstabs. And this sheet, which you can download, gives you an example of what these tables should look like, both in terms of the form and the content. Note that the first table is a frequency distribution of one of your key opinion questions. In this case, for the example, it's frequency distribution of agreement with the statement, if police officers concentrated on minor crimes, they could prevent bigger crimes from happening. Note that we don't have all 4 categories here. They were actually collapsed. The somewhat and strongly agree were collapsed into agree, and the somewhat disagree and strongly disagree were collapsed into disagree. We have the number of people in each category, the total number of people who answered the question, as well as the percentages. And then for the second table, we have basically the same kind of table except for the second key opinion question. And in this case, it was frequency of agreement with the statement, when it comes to policing, I think car patrol is more effective than foot patrol. Of course, your questions will be different. They'll be your own. So we see that 52% of people disagreed with that, and 48%, in the first one, 48% disagreed with this statement. So it's about, you can say about half of the people agreed and half disagreed. Tables 3 and 4 will be cross-tabulations, and what I'm asking you to do is pick the question that seemed to garner a lot of variation or was the most interesting to you. It has to be one of your key opinion questions, and then do a crosstab of that variable by gender for table 3, and then for table 4 find another demographic variable. It can be education, and look at it that way. So if we focus on table 3, first what a crosstab is, or a cross-tabulation. Crosstab is a table that shows you the distribution of one variable according to the values of another. Here it's showing you responses to this question by gender, and it tells us that 67% of women agreed that if police officers concentrated on minor crimes, they could prevent bigger crimes from happening. By contrast, 47% of men agreed with that statement. So it looks like women are more likely to agree about the benefits of police focusing on minor crimes than men. And the difference there is large enough that we would say it looks like there's an association between gender and opinions about this question. Really, in terms of determining whether the difference is big enough to say that it's not just random, that it's probably a real difference, we're looking for a difference of 10% or more. At the end here we have the sample sizes. It's important to note the sample sizes, really important, because the larger the sample size, the less likely this result is due to chance. You can see we really have pretty small sample sizes, and so that would mean that we would try to probably have caution in interpreting this. This is probably tentative, not conclusive. Note that the sample size here of 27 is smaller than this one. It's not necessarily a problem, but it does indicate that there are a few people who didn't provide information about their gender, and so they were left out of that table. And then in the final table, this is a cross-tab between the same question, same opinion question, and this time by educational attainment. And we see that the respondents with no college, 63% of them agreed that if police officers concentrated on minor crimes, they could prevent bigger crimes from happening. By contrast, only 42% of people with some college education or more said they agreed with that statement. So again, it seems like there's an association between education and opinions about this issue, that people without college are more likely to agree, because there's the difference between these two percentages is greater than 10%. So what a crosstab does is it gives you a sense of whether there's an association between two variables, in this case between your key independent, your key opinion question and two demographic variables. So this is the goal, really, is to create these four tables. Once you create them, you're not going to turn them in. You just need to save them somewhere safe, like in Dropbox or in your email or somewhere else safe. And then when you move to the results section, your results section will involve interpreting these tables. So you'll put these tables into your results section and surround it by text that interprets them.